So, lighter than expected inflation driving stocks sky high. Records across the board, every index. The Dow hit 47,000. That's a big number, folks. Joining us now is E.J. Antoni, Heritage Foundation Chief Economist, and Douglas Holtz-Eakin, American Action Forum President, former CBO Director. Welcome to both of you. So, E.J., is inflation conquered? I mean, there's still a few things that need to be hammered down in this report, but I guess it came in lighter than Wall Street. What'd you make of it?
Well, certainly, Larry, there are still some consumer prices that we need to keep working on to get down. A lot of that stems from individual instances, though. In other words, it's not from broader monetary policy necessarily. You can look at gasoline, for example, which was up last month, but since has come down now. You can also look at things like the shortages of cattle that has driven up beef prices. But again, that has nothing to do with monetary policy. That's not to say the Fed is doing everything right on monetary policy. They're certainly not, as we've talked about quite a bit on your show. Unfortunately, we'll probably have to get new leadership in there to make those necessary changes. But all that to say, we are certainly in a better place now than we were just a couple of years ago when inflation rates were pushing double digits.
Douglas Holtz-Eakin, I'm making you Fed chairman for a day. If you want it, you can have it for a year. If you want it, you can have it for 5 years. What would you do with this report? How would you cut rates, if at all, or, coming up? Let's see, the meeting is next week, Dougie. What would you do?
Well, I think EJ's right that you want to toss out the gasoline price spike. That was a big part of this report. Right. The core CPI was the same as last month. But the reality is we're at 3, not 2, and it's gone up over the past couple months, not down. So I don't think you get to celebrate. I say you go 25 basis points and you watch what happens. The really good news in this report that I don't think people have recognized enough is that shelter inflation came in at a 2% annual rate, right at 2. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen that in years, and that has been the Achilles heel of all these inflation reports. So if you can get a couple of lows in a row, you have the freedom to really ease more aggressively. But right now, I'd say 25 and watch.
EJ, I mean, look, the stock market rallied, whatever it rallied, over 500 points. You got a 47,000 Dow. Now, I'm going to argue this report helped, no question. But profits are very strong. I mean, I read some Wall Street economists, forward earnings, very strong, their estimates are. And look, you have, let's face it, a broad macroeconomic policy, lower taxes, deregulation, strong energy production. It's all pro-growth. I mean, the stock market is supposedly taking all these factors into account. And it's very bullish. I mean, I know their corrections are going to come and go. But, EJ, there's something going on here. I really believe that. There's something extra going on here.
Well, Larry, especially with that first point you brought up, profits. Somebody once told me profits are the mother's milk of stocks. I don't know if you've heard that one before.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, that is ultimately what justifies stock prices, right? It's future earnings. In other words, do I anticipate these companies are going to be earning more in the future? And if so, that increases what I'm willing to pay for these stocks. And all of the different pro-growth supply side public policies that you just mentioned on the regulatory side, on the energy side, on the tax side, all of those things combine to put upward pressure on future profits, hence the higher stock prices, Larry. I think that analysis there is spot on.
Doug, I'll take it. Let's have some fun here. There's this great story out today. The Prime Minister, the Premier of Ontario, put out a video of Ronald Reagan. It was kind of an edited video, but it basically was an attack on tariffs. President Trump saw it, hated it, said he's not going to talk to Canada anymore about trade. They pulled the video. But actually, the video, which was edited, the video does show two things, though, which I know and I think you will recall, okay, because we were there. The video says Mr. Reagan was a free trader. In theory, he was, and he talked about it a lot. He didn't like, but on the other hand, when it came to Japanese cars and Japanese computers and other things, he was angry at that, and we had voluntary restraint agreements and tariffs. So Reagan was really both. He was a free trader, but he was going to defend America. Now, I don't know if Mr. Trump will talk to Canada again. That's a different subject. But I just find the Reagan story somewhat amusing. I mean, I remember I was in meetings. I'm a free trader, blah, blah, blah. But he even with Japan, he loved Nakasone, the prime minister, but Japan was taking us to the cleaners. So what do you make of it, Doug?
So I think the right way to look at the Reagan legacy is that he was a free trader. He believed in open trade. He believed in the power of markets and the pursuit of profits by private enterprise. All that's fantastic. But he was also a realistic man. And the place tariffs play in modern commerce is as a strategic weapon of international trade and relations. And he used them when he felt he had to. And he would always say, I don't like this, but we got to do this. And that's how he played that hand. I don't have any problem with that. My concern about tariffs is when right now they're justifying them, as Secretary Bessent did, but as a lot of revenue. That's just trying to tax your way out of a deficit, and I'm not interested in that. That's never been the route to success. So let's use it strategically and take it off as quickly as you can, because the ultimate route is to have a low tariff policy.
But you know, E.J. Antoni, if you listen to Doug Holtz-Eakin, whom I've known for many years and is a very smart guy, what he said about Reagan was a very good president. That's what I heard, Doug.
Yeah.
Go ahead, E.J. Reagan was a very good president. That's what I heard Mr. Holtz-Eakin say. You take us out.
He certainly was, and I think Trump has a lot of Reagan qualities to him. Or you might say Reagan had a lot of very Trumpian qualities. I don't know which way you want to phrase that. But look, if you play that full quote, and as you said, Larry, not just the edited portion that we saw from that ad, you hear Reagan talk about not just free trade, but fair trade. In other words, reciprocity. Right. He was talking about the exact same things that President Trump is advocating for today, just several decades earlier.
He was very realistic, and he could be very tough. And as I said, the prime minister of Japan was a fellow named Nakasone. He was a great pal of Reagan's, but that did not stop Reagan from slapping on some tariffs and some voluntary restraint agreements, autos, computers, semiconductors. You do what you have to do. That's what makes a great president. That's what makes great guests. E.J. Antoni, Douglas Holtz-Eakin, you're terrific. Have a great weekend, folks. Thanks for helping. So